Well, yet another interlocution from Our Lady, and this morning's one is about love. My children, how I desire for there to be love between you, and for all to work together in harmony. If there isn't love between you, my children, how can you be missionaries of love? So many of you talk and judge and gossip about others, rather than pray and talking humbly with the people you disagree with. My children, look to the Gospels and how severely Jesus treated those who judged others while proclaiming to be religious. Was it not these type of people that crucified Jesus? My children, I call you to be loving, to reconciling, and to working together. If you cannot do that and refuse to be reconciled, then you have chosen the path that leads to destruction, in spite of all your prayers and piety. So this morning, very strong words from Our Lady, and links in with today's Gospel, which is basically the Gospel about Jesus eating with tax collectors and sinners. And of course, because of my ministry, I'm always as well in the limelight, if you like, because of LGBT. And there's so much division. And even recently, last night, for example, this morning as well, I've been receiving what I would call as hate mail, hate messages, complaining about what I'm doing, accusing me of doing this, accusing me of doing that. And while I can understand that people have queries, people have questions, instead of introducing themselves, instead of being humble and asking some questions, they launch into this attack. And that's what Our Lady is saying. She's saying, if there isn't love between us, here we are, we're all Catholic, we're all trying to follow Jesus as best we can, and if there isn't love between us, then how can we be missionaries of love? And if other people looking on at our church who are not Catholic see all the arguing, see all the division, see all the gossiping, the hatred, the backstabbing, the deceitfulness, how on earth are they going to come to a place of realizing that Jesus is love, that God is love, and that we have got something special? And so Our Lady says, look at the Gospels and how severely Jesus treated those who proclaim to be religious. And it's true. In the Gospel, you don't see Jesus lashing out at homosexuals, for example, or you don't see him lashing out at adulterous women or whatever. You see him reaching out in mercy to those people. But who does Jesus lash out at? He lashes out at the scribes and the Pharisees and the religious people who are accusing and pointing the finger and basically refusing to accept that God wants to be merciful to these so-called sinners or obvious sinners. And Jesus is saying that that self-righteousness and that pride and that judgment is very, very severe. And many times in the Bible, Jesus severely rebuked these type of people and severely rebuked them. And so Jesus, Our Lady, is saying the same thing today. Was it not these type of people that crucified Jesus? And so she's calling us to reconciling and to working together. And working together, that means understanding each other, loving each other, agreeing maybe to disagree on some topics, but not condemning each other, speaking well of each other. And she says, if you cannot do that and refuse to be reconciled, then you've chosen the path that leads to destruction, in spite of all your prayers and piety. And it's well known from reading the lives of saints and especially Catholic mystics that there are many, many religious people, many priests, many religious sisters, many consecrated virgins, many of these people who, according to the mystics, have ended up in hell. So in other words, in French they say l'habit fait pas le moine, which means the habit doesn't make the monk. And it's true. You could have all the scapulars and all the religious paraphernalia in the world and still end up in hell if you refuse to convert your heart and if you refuse to be loving, if you refuse to change. And so Jesus and Our Lady are basically giving a stark warning that it's about the inside. Work on the inside, reconcile with people, stop judging people, stop pointing the finger at people. Because if not, well then the people, the very people you're pointing the finger at, there's a far greater chance that in God's mercy that they will receive a grace of conversion and they'll go to heaven, while God's judgment and God's anger might fall flat in your face, and the very people that claim to be religious might be the very ones that basically pack hell. And so on that note today, we really have to have a humble heart, and if we are following Jesus, to have the humility to recognize that only for God's grace and by God's grace are we doing that. And so when we meet other people who don't know Jesus for whatever reason, who haven't yet experienced God's love, as Our Lady of Medjugorje puts it, we should be filled with gratitude and with gratitude to God that we know Jesus, and from that place of gratitude and humility, we should pray for those other people and do our best to reach out to them in love without judging. So from me, from London, have a great Saturday and take on board this stark warning of Our Lady to convert to love, to work together in unity, and to stop judging. Thank you.